Hey, God bless you, my friend and sister Sharon. And today we are discussing, do you really know what legalism is? Why is this important? Because, friends, if you are deceived into believing that correction, when a person gives you correction and you begin to look at it as some do, as rules. That's legalism. If someone brings correction to you about something that has to be discerned and has to be applied through using wisdom. See, some things, friends, if we glean from scripture, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 and 17 clearly tells us that all scripture was given by inspiration of God, and it is profitable for doctrine, reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness. If you misconstrue instruction in righteousness as legalism, friend, you can continue in a way that puts you and keeps you in the wide road that could lead to eternal destruction. Jesus said, wide is the road that many are upon, friends, and that straight and narrow path, very few will find it. So it's important that you understand what legalism is. Legalism is what the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the chief priests, the Sanhedrin, those that crucified Jesus, that had a hand in his death, were legalists. This is why they hated Jesus, because they wanted to continue to adhere out of hypocrisy to the law of Moses, which was given at the foot of Mount Sinai, that is 613 laws. The 613 laws that are often referred to from the study and the combining of the first 5 books of the Bible are considered, for most that are legalists, those 613 laws are considered the law, okay? And if you are trying to adhere to them and you are teaching others to do the same, that is what makes you a legalist. However, my friend, where we must be careful, because I have taught this on my channel, and I use often the example of tithing. Tithing comes from the law. But the scriptures tell us in Romans chapter 10, verse 4, that Christ, because of the sacrifice, my friend, to those that believe, he did away with that. And he fulfilled the law because Jesus did not sin. Galatians chapter 5, verse 4 tells us anyone that continues to attempt to abide and do the law, you are alienated from Christ. Now this, my friend, is Galatians chapter 5. You would do well to study the entire chapter of Galatians chapter 5. But then Galatians chapter 3, verse 21 tells us it is impossible for anyone to keep the law. It's impossible. And through the shed blood and the sacrifice of Jesus, we have been liberated from the 613 laws. However, as we apply 2 Timothy, friends, chapter 3, verse 16 and 17, that tells us why God inspired men to write the Holy Scriptures, again, for doctrine, reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness, you have to know when you are receiving godly correction to instruct you in how to live. Friends, there are some things that we have to look at in the modern world that will cause you to trip, cause you to become in bondage, not to the law, but to yourself and to sin. This is why it's important that all of us take a close look at how we're living, how we're walking, how we're talking. Friends, self-evaluation is necessary all the time to calibrate, and as Paul said, to see, to be sure that you are in the faith. So be careful, friends. When you hear people constantly talk about, oh, that's just legalism, that's legalism. Well, friends, don't confuse the 613 laws with instruction in righteousness. Because there are some things you're not going to find in Scripture. You don't find cigarette smoking in Scripture. But we know that God's temple is holy. So when a person is instructing you and trying to help you to understand that constantly smoking cigarettes, friends, it is poison to God's temple. And for many, it is idolatry. And you're not going to find that in the Bible. But it is righteous instruction when we know that we ought to put those things down. You're not going to find necessarily pornography on a cell phone in the Bible. You're not going to find that. But we know from Genesis to Revelation that God is holy. And for someone to tell you and give you instruction that you need to put that away, you're not going to call that legalism. You're not going to call it legalism when someone's telling you got to stop smoking them cigarettes. You're not going to find marijuana in the Bible. But you're not going to, friends, if you're wise, attempt to apply smoking weed as legalism. That's legalism. You telling us we can't Friends, be careful to understand the difference between the 613 laws. Anyone that teach them and attempt to live by all those 613 laws, that was impossible. That's legalism. But instruction in righteousness, my friend, we must have an ear to hear. And often when people say they're not convicted about something that is clearly questionable, they have to be also encouraged to examine their lives. Are you in the faith? Because some things, friends, we know it's not right. We know it's not right. And we try to come up with all these excuses, and it's easy to pass it off. Oh, that's just legalism. All scripture, 2 Timothy chapter 3, was given for doctrine, reproof, correction, and instruction in how to live, because it can protect us, my friend. So he or she that has the ear to hear, God bless you, my friends. Please go back, stop the video, write down, jot down these scriptures and go look at them closely. They will bless you. Galatians chapter 5, very, it's just a yummy chapter. It's just so full of so much understanding, friends. It's just good to the soul. Study it. Galatians chapter 5 and Galatians chapter 3, Romans chapter 10, verse 4. God bless. Till next time.